Welcome to the Government News Brief. It is Tuesday, November 15, 2016. Our top stories. President Granger reaffirms Guyana's commitment to tackle climate change, veterinarians to play a bigger role in promoting a healthy environment, and Bartica residents to be included in government's low-income housing development. Stay tuned for these and other stories. Thank you for staying with us. I am Renetta LaFleur, and now for the details. President David Granger today reaffirmed Guyana's commitment to the global efforts to tackle climate change. The president addressed the Conference of Parties, COP22, today in Marrakesh.
President David Granger told world leaders that Guyana, a small state, is playing a big role in mitigating the impacts of climate change.
We have demonstrated how small states could contribute to solving major global problems, particularly those relating to the environment. Guyana is central to the contribution which small states can make to mitigating climate change.
The president informed world leaders that with about 85% of its land mass covered in forests, Guyana is serving as the lungs of the earth.
Guyana will honor its obligations under the Paris Agreement through the development of a comprehensive emissions reduction program. We will pursue the establishment of a green state. We will place an additional 2 million hectares of our territory under conservation and preserve our rainforests in order to contribute up to 48.7 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent to the global climate mitigation effort through avoided deforestation.
President Granger further assured world leaders that Guyana is moving towards full renewable energy by 2025. The president also highlighted plans for education and research in the field of biodiversity. He called on global leaders to support partnerships with small developing states in the fight against climate change and for increased financing to fight climate change. For the Government News Brief, I am Gabriela Patram.
Thank you for staying with us. I am Renetta LaFleur, and now for the details. Veterinarians have been charged to play a bigger role in promoting a healthy environment. We have the details in this report. At the 29th Biennial Caribbean Veterinary Medical Association Conference opening ceremony, Minister within the Ministry of Public Health, Dr. Karen Cummins, described the One Health initiative as an important one. The minister explained that the initiative recognizes that the health of humans is directly connected to the health of animals and the environment.
The One Health concept is a worldwide strategy for expanding interdisciplinary collaborations and communications in all aspects of healthcare for humans, animals, and the environment. It is also strongly believed by contemporary public health care professionals that the synergism achieved as a result of the One Health concept will significantly advance health care for the 21st century and beyond.
The minister reminded the veterinarians that they are responsible for reporting disease events and the trends to the state public health and regulatory agencies. She urges that they collaborate with medical officials when necessary. Meanwhile, Minister of Agriculture Noel Holder stressed the need for more emphasis on animal health. He says that as the population increases, so will the demand for animal products.
In the majority of countries, most public funding is given to the concerns of human health, with limited focus on the animal health side. This limited funding for animal health is one of the major limiting factors in the control of the spread of zoonotic diseases. Therefore, the onus is on you, the veterinarians, to champion this important cause of imbalance of resource allocation within your countries.
Fortune Settle says he is looking forward to working along with the other participants to implement the One Health concept.
I'm hoping to network, certainly, to meet other colleagues and professionals that preach the gospel of One Health. Also to get to learn about, what is happening within One Health and attending other presentations as well as we move on and try and implement the One Health concept.
President of the Caribbean Veterinary Association, Dr. Paul Crooks, encouraged the veterinarians to be more innovative and play their roles in their local associations. Renetta LaFleur for the Government News Brief. The township of Bartica Region 7 is to be included in government's plan to construct housing for low-income households. Zanil Williams has the details.
In an interview with the Government Information Agency, GINA, today, Minister within the Ministry of Communities, Valerie Patterson, explains that the Central Housing and Planning Authority, CHNPA, will be targeting the construction of at least 50 duplexes in the community.
They're slated for 50 duplexes, which is 100 apartments. Somewhere around that, right? I know that's not going to answer totally the meet the full demand, but that's just one part of our initiatives, right? But they're slated for everything that we're going to do in the future. Region 7, Bartica, they are on board.
Minister Patterson says the ministry is still to identify the lands in the communities for the construction of the duplexes. She explains that the lands remaining in 4 miles and 5 miles schemes cannot be used since they are no longer in keeping with the administration's visions of livable and wholesome communities. The areas of 4 and 5 miles in Bartica were previously identified by CHNPA for housing development for residents of Bartica.
We have housing schemes there. But there is some more lands that are available. But when my visit there revealed that a lot of the other areas are slopes, they are swampy. And so even though in our system, under the former government, house lots are allotted, I could not allocate them. Because many of them are on slopes, going down to gullies. You can't give people that kind of land.
The minister will be accompanied by Presidential Advisor on the Environment, Rear Admiral Retired Gary Bess. Admiral Bess is also in charge of the proposed Green Bartica Development Plan.
He's willing to return with us to identify which area we'll now use for housing, residential housing, and which area will be identified for commercial lots. And so that should be done. I'm not so sure if it can be done before the end of the year, but we'll push it.
Government's new model for housing, the construction of 5,000 apartments and or duplexes, is expected to cost $50 billion. This new model seeks to improve the housing delivery system to address the blockage of 25,000 applicants. Over 17,800 can be classified as low-income households. I am Zanil Williams for the Government News Brief.
Potential investors from Brazil engage Go Invest on investment opportunities. Delon Sanko tells us more.
Potential investors for Guyana's southern neighbors met with Chief Executive Officer of the Guyana Office for Investment, Go Invest Owen Verwey. Today, the investors are seeking opportunities to invest in various sectors. Verwey explains.
We've got about a total of 45 visitors from Brazil. Most of them are investors or potential investors looking for opportunities in Guyana. The remainder are mainly government officials or politicians from the neighboring states. Their primary interest here, as was mentioned in the meeting, they're looking for lands on a large scale for rice and for soybean, mainly because on a scalability, it has to be at that level for them to be efficient and for them to compete on the world market with prices.
Meanwhile, ongoing negotiations will be facilitated for the investors as they move forward with the investment considerations.
It does seem very likely that there will be more negotiations. This is just an advanced pre-feasibility mission looking at the opportunities here. They're also looking to talk to existing players in the agricultural industry for what partnership opportunities are available. But it looks as if they're looking for lands that mean, for Government of Guyana, opening up new lands in the various locations.
Early this year, Go Invest had declared that investment proposals had been received in the areas of oil and gas, tourism and mining, agro-processing and forestry. Through continued development, the investment climate became more attractive, encouraging foreign investors to invest in Guyana's economy. Delon Sanko for the Government News Brief.
Small miners are beginning to benefit from government's distribution of mining lands. We recently spoke to one such recipient. Paul McAdam reports.
43-year-old Tanita Barreto is one of 235 small miners who have benefited from approved mining lands by the Closed Area Committee of the Ministry of Natural Resources. Barreto, who mines in the Marudi Mountain area in Region 9, says she is grateful to finally have her own block. She describes her previous operation as one which was illegal.
We were doing illegal mining all the time because this is what was the biggest problem in Marudi, because there were no lots allotted out to us during the previous government, right? It's only now that in this government, this present government that we are having now, only this government have been looking at the small miners, right? So now we have been able now to get our own blocks, and that we'll be moving on to or going into now.
A miner for 7 years, Barreto says that she and her husband, who worked as an excavator operator, went into mining to support their 5 children.
I have 5 children, which I had 2 at that time was going to the government scholarship in Georgetown. And I had to work to maintain them there in Georgetown. Whereas my son has finished now, he has been going to the President's College in Georgetown, and successfully, because I have been helping him financially, he has been successfully at his CXC examination, and now he's in the university, and I continue to help him through the mining that we are doing right now.
Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman says that making mining lands available is part of fulfilling government's commitment to miners.
It is government's intention to ensure that everyone who wants the opportunity to mine can do so, of course with the condition that you do so in a responsible and friendly manner that is friendly to the environment, and the communities in which we live.
The Closed Area Committee was established earlier this year to ensure that small and medium-scale miners benefit from higher yielding lands. Paul McAdam for the Government News Brief.
Minister with responsibility for housing, Valerie Adams Patterson, promises La Harmonie residents that government has not forgotten them and that the ministry's officials will soon be in their community to look into their concerns. Here is more.
The Management Committee of La Harmonie Community Development Council, CDC, visited Minister Valerie Adams Patterson on November 8 and shared some of the many challenges that residents face. During that meeting, the minister committed to visit the community accompanied by a team from the Central Housing and Planning Authority, the CHNPA. Today, however, when the minister and the team attempted to visit the community, they weren't able to do so. This was due to the deplorable state of the road, which was not helped by early morning showers.
Going in to La Harmonie or on the way to La Harmonie, the road is terrible. And I would want to encourage the Minister of Public Infrastructure, Honorable Minister Patterson, to have a look at it and see how we can help. I believe if the road is done, because they have a lot of vacant lands, but if the road is done, we can probably be able to influence population growth in that area.
Minister Adams Patterson plans to return to the community and assess the situation as part of providing interventions to the many other concerns raised by the CDC.
I did promise them that I'm going to go back. At least I think the guy that met me is Mr. Kenrick McFoy, the chairman, and he is quite aware of the state of the road, at least up to where we met. The mud and so on, terrible. They feel as though they're a community that is forgotten. But I want to encourage them, those who will see this program this morning, that this APNUFC government, we're not forgetting anybody. We might not be able to touch every community in this first 1.5 years, but we are coming your way.
In addition to the state of the roadway, other issues the CDC hopes to have the ministry address include the state of the community's multipurpose building. This building is still without water and electricity, even though it has been in existence for several years. Paul McAdam for Government News Brief.
That has brought us to the end of today's edition of the Government News Brief. The details of these and other stories can be found on Gina's website. Gina has an active Facebook page, and we encourage you to visit and like us so you can be informed as the news unfolds. Do join us again tomorrow for another edition of the Government News Brief. I am Renetta LaFleur. Thank you for watching.